Oh, Amanda, I thought of you the other day because a
Oh,
friend of
nice.
mine was describing the movie The Northman, which I would
Oh,
like to
yeah,
watch, but
yeah.
I haven't yet. And she said, "Yeah, if you want to watch a movie where really attractive men are wearing nothing but dirt," and I said, "Yes, please."
Yes, that's Kelly's favorite kind of movie.
And I thought of you.
Hmm. Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome to Bugs Need Heroes, a podcast where an artist and an entomologist team up to illustrate the inspiring abilities of insects by creating a bug-themed superhero. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kelly.
Before we get started creating a bug-themed character, what's bugging you, Kelly?
Well, it is almost Halloween. I know that this comes out way in the future, but I'm
Once again,
excited.
hello from the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. I love Halloween. I love watching the kids come around with their little outfits, and I'm not gonna dress up this year, but it's still
Kelly,
fun.
no. After
I
Target
know.
had an abundance of butterfly wings, you're not going to dress up?
Oh my god, I should just go to Target and get the butterfly wings though.
Yeah.
I need to own those. Did you get the ladybug wings?
I believe Derek purchased the ladybug wings. My child has a ladybug outfit, so that'll have to be
Aw.
proxy enough.
What's bugging you? Anything interesting?
Something is blooming. Some fall bush has decided to make itself known, and it's messing up my life, if I'm honest.
Oh, you have allergies?
Just to like one kind of sage, as far as like air allergies go.
Oh.
As
Oh
opposed to
boy.
like ingested allergies. I don't know what it is. It bothers my dad too, so I come by it honestly. I think it's called a red sage. It's like one of those decorative plants. Decorative is another
Oh.
word that I should pronounce correctly. Decorative plants.
Decorative.
That people put in their yards, just be like, here's a little red bush. Isn't it cute? And I'm like, no, it sucks.
Oh, yeah. I wish people would plant more native plants in
Yes,
their yard
native plants.
because we love
Look it up.
because we love pollinators.
We are a pollinator positive podcast.
Not that the pollinators won't pollinate your decorative plants, but
They will
yeah,
they're
I prefer
non-discriminatory.
native. Plant native in your yard, folks. Yeah.
The bush in our yard that's always being pollinated. Just to segue in, the bush that is always has pollinators on it in our neighborhood is this giant lavender bush, and now I have to Google if lavender is native to the Pacific Northwest or if I have been unknowingly supporting the pollinating of a non-native plant.
At least lavender you can eat.
This is like it's a beautiful bush.
Make tea with it.
Yeah, and it smells so good as you walk by. You're like, I'm so relaxed now on this walk. Let me look here. Okay, lavender native range?
There are probably several species of lavender, so it might depend.
Yeah, this is giving me the range of like what it is now, which is probably not all that helpful. Okay. It is native to the Mediterranean, but has become like, what's the word for when it's been here so long? They're just like, let it happen.
Well, you mean introduced or?
Yeah, like it's run so wild now that there's no point trying to get rid of it. Like an invasive species, you're still trying to get rid of. I'm trying to think of what the word is. I don't know what the word
naturalized.
is. It's become naturalized. It's become naturalized to the region.
My brain just refused to work there. I'm like, no.
Little scrolling dots are going around your forehead.
I stayed up too late last night.
Same.
Oh boy. I am feeling my age, I guess.
But the big thing that hangs out on this lavender bush is there's about 3 of them. There's like a little moth thing, a little butterfly thing, honeybees, and then our topic for today, the bumblebee loves this lavender plant.
And I love
always
a bumblebee.
Count on a bumblebee being at the lavender plant.
I love bumblebees. They're so cute.
They're the cutest of the bees, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah, I think so too. For a second, I was gonna fight that with mason bee, but I think a bumblebee's cuter because they're so fuzzy.
Yeah, they're just like these little puffballs flying through the sky, and they always seem like, I just feel like they're very aptly named, the bumblebee, because they do always seem like they're kind of just bumbling along. They're like, oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Well, their name actually it doesn't come from. So the Greek word is bombus for the genus, and bombus just means a buzzing sound. So they're
Oh,
named for the
really?
noise they make, not their bumbling little flight patterns.
I disagree. I think this is kismet. They were always meant to bumble about. Bombus. That's a great word. Bombus.
Bombus. And Middle English is bombolin. I think I'm pronouncing that right way, which means to hum. So we used to call bumblebees humblebees. And then
Really?
then
I'm gonna
eventually
call
it
them that.
changed.
That's like a children's book. The Humble Bumblebee.
Well, Charles Darwin in The Origin of Species refers to them as humblebees.
Interesting. I wonder where that switch is. Maybe we just saw him going around like Humblebee, more like Bumblebee. Am I right? We just started doing it, and then they took over.
I think it starts showing up in the literature around the 1920s as bumblebee instead of humblebee.
Well, the 1920s, they love to give an inappropriate
Names.
nickname.
Yeah.
They're like, it's the bee's knees, that bumblebee. That's what it was like in the 20s, right? Just a lot of like people making horn noises with their mouths.
And that very particular voice cadence of the 1920s.
Exactly. I'm gonna live forever. No. Nothing bad will ever happen to me.
I'm gonna cut my hair real short.
Yeah. Bernice bobbed her hair all right. Wow. Throw out for the literary fans out there. You like Fitzgerald? Here you go. Anyway, so the bumblebee. My number one question for bumblebees is always, do they make honey?
So they don't make honey.
Interesting. Okay.
The bumblebees, they collect nectar and pollen, and they bring that back to the nest, and they feed their larvae just like a honeybee would do with honey.
Uh-huh.
But because bumblebees don't overwinter, they go the way of the wasp, where everyone dies before the winter time, and then a queen will kind of renew the colony. What's interesting is the queen also dies. So the queen only lives a year. She produces all these babies, which is way smaller. If we remember, honeybees have really large hives.
Yeah.
Bumblebees are maybe 50 to 400 bees in a hive. It's pretty small.
A little house. They all know each other's names because only
they're all sisters. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
They're all sisters.
It is considered rude to not know your sister's name.
Well, we live in a world now where you can choose your family, which is very nice, I think. But the bees don't have that luxury. They have to live with their siblings. And the males have the same job as honeybee males. They just exist to mate, and then they die after mating. And the workers only live about 2 to maybe 4 weeks. So they have a pretty short lifespan.
So the benefit of honey being that you can keep it over the winter time.
Over winter.
So those that lived they're on the 9-month track instead of 3-month track. They get to eat the honey. But because bumblebees don't need that, they go the way of the bee very, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sorry, I should have clarified. That's adult workers live 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. The entire lifespan of a bee, it takes about a month for an egg to become a larva, and then I think it's just a couple weeks for the larvae to become adults. So you're really not adding on a lot of time. Even,
poor little bumbles.
Poor little bumbles. But man, are they cute.
I guess I'm confused. If even the queen dies, who's there to replenish the hive?
At the end of the season, she starts producing queens.
Right. Okay. I'm back on board.
So she produces queens and males, and the males and queens go off to different places and mate. And then once the new queen is inseminated, she finds a nice space to overwinter and then stays there for the winter.
Right. And she can be prepared come spring to revitalize the bumble.
To start all over again.
Bumble time, she says.
Bumble time.
It's bumble time.
So I looked at, when I was doing the research for this episode, and I don't know if the listeners will be surprised to hear that I I don't automatically know everything about
How
every
dare you,
single
you
bug.
fraud.
That I do have to do a little bit of reading. I know, as an entomologist, I know the big chunk of things that I think regular people probably don't know, but I have to do some extra reading for nuance, which is fun. I love this podcast because I learn while I'm teaching at the same time. But one of the neat things about bumblebees is while there are some bumblebees in South America, they're generally a northern latitude insect, and you'll
Oh,
find them all the way up into Alaska. They're like really northern. They prefer northern climates.
so the equator kind of serves as a, generally speaking, you got to be above this to get bees. Is
Bumbles,
that the
anyway.
bumbles? Sorry, it's the bumblebee.
But
And is
there
that just
are
because whatever niche they're filling is filled up by other bugs, or they're
um
northerners? They're no
there
good Yanks.
there are no good Yanks. Although I mean there are a few species in South America, but in Europe they're generally northern too. And there's not a lot of bumblebees. There's about 250 species, and we only have 50 in North America. So we're not super bumble heavy on the continent over here. But one of my favorite bees is a South American bee called the Patagonian bumblebee, also called the flying mouse. And it's adorable. It's orange. It's like a bright, like a rusty orange color. And Amanda, this bee is over an inch and a half in length.
That's a big boy.
Can you picture?
Wow. Okay, now I'm holding
Yeah,
my little. That's a big bee.
it is a big bee. I'm gonna
And I assume also, now I gotta look and see if
get
he's
a
just a little
picture.
fuzzy guy
Oh, he's so
bumbling through the
fuzzy.
air. Okay, Patagonian.
Patagonia bumblebee.
Oh my gosh, look at him go.
Isn't he cute?
Oh my, I think flying mouse is apt. I was going to say, hey, the flying mouse is meant to be the bats whom we already spoke on. How dare
I,
you bring it
I
up
put a
again?
photo of one in the Discord on a woman's hand, and look at the size of this chunky bee.
Oh my gosh, it is mouse sized.
It is.
Listeners, please know that it is a big, big bee. Its legs are so thick. Like I just like you think of bug legs as being like little and spindly, and technically they are when compared to the big body.
But
But
these have
somehow,
chunky legs.
yeah, seeing these chunky legs all blown up is like that's that's a hefty boy. I
They're
guess technically
so
a
cool.
girl.
Yeah,
But
this is
but
probably a female. Yeah.
oh my, I love this. I love how big, and I somehow bumblebees have always been the bee I'm the least like wary of. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's true that they can't sting or if they just like choose not to. But I was always told as a kid, like, don't worry about the bumblebees. They're
They
not coming for you.
they choose not to. They can sting, and unlike honeybees, they do not have barbed stingers, so they can sting repeatedly
Oh.
if they want to. But I mean, I'm a bad example because I've never been stung by anything. But I mean, I've never been stung by a bumblebee, and I've
Yeah.
caught them. You can pet a bumblebee, and they just kind
That
of
is
hang
how
out.
the song goes, at least.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not how the song goes.
No, no, there's
The
mashing
song goes
involved.
badly. They mash. Oh my, we can't mention this song. This is a pollinator positive podcast. We
Yeah.
can't possibly talk about this song. Uh, well, let me just say, listeners, please do not emulate the song in
The
which you
song.
hold and then mash a bumblebee.
Never mash a bumblebee.
Never mash. A recurring theme, of course, being please treat bugs nice. Don't throw woolly bears at your siblings like some people on this podcast did. And don't smash the spiders in your house. Let them free, and do not mash up baby bumblebees in your hands just because they rightfully stung you on the hand because you've held them captive.
Yeah, do not hold a bumblebee captive.
Your mother will not be proud of you for mashing up that bumblebee. She will say, "You horrible little child." She'll say.
Yeah, never mush them. But they're very gentle. Bumblebees really only sting when harmed or to protect the nest. So
Because this comes back to my impression that they bumbled about. Because I've definitely had bumblebees in particular, run into me and then leave. Yeah. They're like, oh, sorry about that. Sorry.
Whoops.
Whoops, sorry. So yeah, bumblebees are the ones I fear the least. But if this heckin' chonker of a bee,
would you be nervous about a bee this size?
I don't know, because with spiders, I have this. There's a bell curve of like it's small enough I'm not scared of it, and then it's big enough that I am like wary of it, and then tarantulas scare me less. I think because it's so big, I know where that guy is. Okay, I can see her, she can see me. We can respect each other's space.
That makes
but
sense.
There's a range in the middle where it's too big to be comfortable, but not so big that I can always keep track of it. We talked before about like the house spiders.
Oh
yeah, in the Pacific North. They're like 2 or 3 inches, and you're like, that's gotta go.
Spiders over there. Yeah,
I don't like those. Do not like. So somewhere between you're so small, I'll leave you alone, and you're so big, I'll leave you alone. There's a danger zone for Amanda.
Danger zone. So does this chunky bee fall in the danger zone?
I feel like he'd be okay because I know where she is.
Yeah,
I could wear her like a tasteful brooch.
You could. She would just hang out on your shirt.
On my lapel.
Yeah, she's adorable. I do hope the listeners do a Google search for the Patagonian bumblebee, because man, are they adorable.
That's a big bee.
Look at how orange it is too.
Is this the biggest bee that there is?
It is the largest bee. Yeah.
The heaviest bee.
The chunkiest.
There's no way she can fly faster than like a single amble. Just blah, 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 blah. There I go. And you're like, there you go, bud. Go. Be free. Like the Hercules beetle, the two of them.
Oh, yeah. You guys over there have the western bumblebee, Bombus occidentalis, which is unfortunately vulnerable.
Oh no. So, we've been rough on our bees?
It's partial. So you've got a fungus called nosema, which is a bit of a problem for bees, and some of it is habitat and climate change related, pesticides. There have been hypotheses that the European honeybees over there are kind of displacing native bumblebees.
They're just so much better at getting all that juice.
Well, they're not better pollinators though. Bumblebees are better, more efficient pollinators than honeybees. So
is it because they're so fuzzy they can pick up more of the pollen?
That's part of it. They have big pollen baskets on their little leggies. There have been some studies that that fruit pollinated by bumblebees as opposed to honeybees is larger, and the crop yield is bigger. So they just live
in a bigger world, the bumblebee.
Yeah.
They're a little bit bigger, their fruits are a little bit bigger. they just inspire rotundness.
So cute.
I'd be hard to get bigger, if I'm honest. That brings to mind the other bee question that gets brought up a lot, that for a long time they're like, it's impossible for a bee to fly. How does it fly? And I feel like the bumblebee categorizes that the best, of like, how is it possible that this big body is getting around on these little teeny little wings? And I don't know at what point they defunct that. I think like fairly recently they're like, oh no, we do know how bees fly. It turns out they fly by flying.
They just fly. Yeah,
they just fly.
I don't think there's a big secret about how they can fly.
Oh no, because I remember as a kid, it was a well-known fact that the scientists out there, whoever they be, didn't know how bees fly. Maybe this is a Pacific Northwest rumor that you've never heard over there on the West Coast?
Wow. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't really heard. I mean, I guess it seems weird because they have tiny wings and they're big, but we do know how bees fly. This is just a myth.
Okay. It must be a myth.
Yeah, so I'm looking. I looked this up, Amanda, because I've never heard this before, and apparently, a common origin. This is from Forbes magazine. A common origin story is that an unnamed Swiss physicist was asked by a female attendee at a dinner party how a bumblebee could fly, since they're so much fatter, relative to their wing size than things like birds. And the physicist does rough calculations and concludes that the bumblebee should be able to fly. But this all sounds like complete nonsense. This is an old myth that's apparently been perpetuated for like 80 years.
Yeah. It's a popular misconception about bees that I've always heard. And I was always like, "What? We know that they can fly because look,
they're doing it.
He's clearly flying."
They move their wings and they move air around the wings and they create lift. I mean,
this all checks out so far. Yeah. What is it? It's like the biscuit property. What is it really? The Schmidt something? No, that's the pain thing.
That's the pain scale. Mr. Justin Schmidt. Oh boy. I still can't believe that man let a bunch of things sting him.
Again, I feel like he's too into it. Like we've been pulled into something we didn't want to be.
But yeah, I had not heard that flight myth before a few minutes ago when you brought it up. Maybe because as a little kid I was so into reading about bugs and stuff that I just
everyone knew better than to even bring it up around you.
It just didn't cross my lap, I guess. Yeah.
So I've pulled up our other two heroes from the bee team, the Japanese honeybee, who we decided was the Red Ranger, the hero, and the Yellow Jacket, who is the Lancer / rival of the main hero. So that leaves the bumblebee a couple of options as far as how they fit into the team. My inclination is to make them the chick, but to switch them and have them be the dude.
The dude?
Because typically it's the 4 dudes and a chick, right? So I think we switch it and make it the 4 chicks and a dude.
I like it. I like that. And I think the bumblebee is a good choice to be.
Do you see the male bumblebees about?
Yeah, you'll see them around. They don't do anything to help the hive, but you'll see them outside.
Oh, interesting. You usually see them outside because I got the impression with the honeybees that the drone, it really takes a lot for him to leave his little drone room.
He just hangs out. Bumblebees are really, really good at sunning themselves. So you'll see a lot of them outside just getting warm in the morning, and it doesn't take a lot of sun for them to warm up. So they're out there. Bumblebees are kind of cool because they're the first bees you'll see out in the spring and the last bees to leave in the winter because they're very cold hardy because they're so fuzzy and dense.
It is my inclination also to make this big boy with a heart of gold, the heart of the team, convinces all the other more fighty, flighty bees that we got to work together, guys. Look at my dance. Do the bumblebees dance as well? Or is that strictly a honeybee thing?
They do dance. They tell each other where to forage, and they dance to alert for predators entering the hive. It's not the same as a honeybee dance, but they do something similar.
It serves a similar purpose.
Yeah. But I think a honeybee can't dance at a bumblebee, and they won't understand each other. There's no cross bee communication.
Not a universal bee language of dance. I've been informed that dance is a universal language. How dare
you? Not if you're a bee. So we have to make him. He's got to be a little hairy because our bumblebees. Bumblebees are fuzzy.
I'm hearing some great woodsman vibes happening for our bumblebee. As much like a maybe this again is the Pacific Northwest in me, but now I want to make him
like a lumberjack.
Like a lumberjack here.
Yeah, they have more. They have longer. So setae is the scientific term for hair on an insect, and they have more setae than honeybees, and they have it's more dense on their bodies. So, and this helps them be more cold hardy. So, like I said, they're out in the winter time. As long as there's flowers, they're around for a while. They are out like way later than honeybees are. You're gonna make them stocky.
Yeah, I think I still want to give him muscly arms, even though he won't be serving that role within our group here. But I think I'll make him a little bit short and stout. We'll give him a lunged leg here. Short and
I can't wait to see this drawing. It's nice the B team is filling out.
Yeah. I'll be excited to put them all in a single document and have them all hanging out together.
So, Amanda, What is the role our Bumble male is playing on the B team?
So I just referred to it as the chick or the heart of the team, but really it's a character for whom fighting is not their biggest role on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Universe in the early seasons is easily the heart of the team. He's what keeps the team together. Bo in She-Ra, he's not necessarily the strongest character, but he serves as a kind of a moral compass sometimes. A lot of times the woman on a team, if we're going by the 5-man band, the 4 men and the 1 woman, she's the one who kind of is the voice of reason when all the dudes want to like, let's go over there and fight, and she's like, let's listen to reason, you guys. And that's, has its own ties into why it's the woman that does that. But
okay.
For us, I think we're going to make it the dude and make him be a golden hearted lad.
I like it. That makes a lot of sense.
If you need to look up a TV tropes for something I say, feel free, Kelly.
Sometimes I
we
do.
come from very different. You assume I know things about bees. I assume you know things about ridiculous pop culture references.
I appreciate your faith in me. That
Yes,
means a
always.
lot, even though I'm clueless most of the time.
Okay, let's. I want his beard to be visible, so let's give him the Black Widow dad. What was his name in that?
Red Guardian.
The Red Guardian, where you can see his beard, even though he's wearing a helmet thing.
Oh, he was great. He was fantastic.
I might even argue that he was in some ways the heart of the team.
Yeah, I think I could see that. So while you draw our magical dude, there's one type of bumblebee that I thought would be kind of fun to mention, and it's not one species. There are several species, but there's a group. They're called cuckoo bumblebees. Do you know anything about the bird, the cuckoo?
I know that it will invade other nests. At like something like 30% of cuckoos are born in other people's nests because they're like, okay, well, you take care of this one, and eat up all the resources of another bird parents love.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good description. We have a whole group of bumblebees that have this same behavior, which is pretty fascinating. So the queen will go out, and this cuckoo bumblebees don't have pollen baskets, which is why they need to seek out other hives. So they can't collect their own pollen. So she'll go into another bumblebee hive, a different species, and she'll kill that queen. And then she emits a pheromone that tells the hive, I'm the queen. And she'll lay eggs, and they take care of her offspring, just as they would their real queen. So it's pretty interesting.
Rude.
Yeah, it is pretty rude. It's very rude.
How dare you? That's it. It's so funny. Like, rather than figure out a way to make pollen, they're like, I'm just going to go take over someone else's business.
Yeah, because she can't carry it. Yeah, it is. It's a cool bug, but it's certainly a rude bug.
Not like
there's a few species that
here.
do this. Yeah, our handsome bumblebee man would never.
He would never dream.
Never. So I was thinking about superpowers for our bee man hero, and being hairy, I guess, is not a superpower unless you're Logan, who is Wolverine.
It is certainly a superpower on him. Yes.
But
I need a bushier beard. Hold on, sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. That's properly bushy. All right, sorry. Go on. Logan's hairy.
Logan is hairy. So these bees are active in, again, mostly northern latitudes. There are some southern bees where it's chillier. And in order to stay warm, they can shiver their flight muscles. And they do this without moving their wings. So they shiver the flight muscles until they reach about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, because we're an American podcast. And it helps them be warm, basically to be warm enough to fly. They have to be at that temperature. So he should have some kind of fire ability, maybe some kind of heat ability.
Our Japanese honeybee had that
Right.
fire as well, so that would make at least a cohesive power set here.
Mm-hmm. And there's another potentially very cool ability. So bumblebees and some solitary bees can do this pollination technique called buzz pollination. Generally, when a flower is producing pollen, the pollen is on the anther, and it's kind of all over the anther, so that pollinators can come by, collect that pollen, and then move on. But some plants cover up the anther, only leaving an opening near the top so that they don't self-pollinate, because you don't want you don't want
You want to
self-pollination
crossbreed against yourself.
yourself. Yeah, you want genetic diversity. And the only way to get that pollen out of the anther is through buzz pollination. It's called sonication. The bee will grab the anther and then buzz so violently it shoots the pollen out of the top of the covered anther. It's very neat. It's very, very neat. This is important for a lot of our crops. So tomatoes, eggplants, potatoes, some blueberries and cranberries all need buzz pollination, which means they cannot be pollinated by honeybees. They're reliant on
Oh, they need
bumbles.
the little vibration of the bumblebee coming in, like a like one of those weasel toys that like goes all across
Oh,
the
right.
whole world.
But yeah, so and this I think is interesting because all these crops are North American, and we don't have honeybees here, so perhaps this adaptation is specific to evolving without without honeybees to collect pollen in that way.
Oh, they had to figure it out because there weren't honeybees around. So that is there other bugs that fulfill that little vibration need?
Only, to my knowledge, only bumblebees and some solitary bees can do this. So they're very reliant. There are crops in New York, upstate New York, that are only pollinated by the yellow-banded bumblebee because it sonicates. And
Okay,
they're
so now I'm trying to figure
potatoes.
out how I'm gonna get that onto this.
I don't know how you'll make it a power, but it's super, super cool.
My only thought, and stick with me here. You've talked about the warmth, and now you've talked about this buzzing, and now all I can think is, can he give you the warm fuzzies with his heart, love?
Oh my god. Oh, Amanda, you've gone too far.
He's so lovable though. Look at him.
He is adorable. He's like a Care Bear.
Yes, that is what I want out of my big friend
This
here.
big sweet bee man. I think that's adorable if you can somehow make that a power.
I'm not sure how to like show that other than like a bunch of hearts. Maybe sparkles. I did a bunch of sparkles on Japanese honeybees, so maybe I can sparkle this one as well. Hold on, I love the idea of a very soft power to this dude as well.
It also makes sense that he's the heart because bumblebees. So bumblebees, there's been lots of studies on their, I will say culture in quotes, and how they learn. You can teach a bumblebee to do a bunch of things. Like the one study, they taught a bumblebee to pull a string, and then when they pull the string, they receive a treat. And then they had other bumblebees watch a bee do this, and they learned from watching their neighbor.
Wow, I just wouldn't think of bumblebees as something intelligent enough to be trainable. But I guess it doesn't take much. Little bee brains to be like, yeah, I'll pull that. You get a treat. Sure.
Yeah. Well, when we think about intelligence in non-human animals, generally are very, what we would consider our smart animals are social. So maybe it might have something to do with them being a very social bee.
Right. And we as humans are biased towards things that we recognize as intelligence as things that we do.
Yeah, there is also
I can recognize myself in a mirror, so therefore
human bias. And there was another study. So they gave these bumblebees, balls. And if you roll the ball around, the bee will get a treat. And they watched each
like
other.
Those treat sorters that you give to a cat.
Yeah. So they
occupied.
taught a bumblebee to do this. And then again, its neighbors watched this happen and they learned it and also received a treat. But what was kind of neat about this study is that they did it they were rolling these balls even when they weren't getting treats. And there are
just for fun.
I am
again. I'm assigning human traits on these.
I am
bees.
hesitant to call it play behavior. That ball doesn't belong there. It could be the bee just attempting to get it out of its space.
Like this ball
housekeeping.
needs organized.
Yeah, because bumblebees and honeybees engage in housekeeping in their hive, and they remove things that don't belong in the hive. So it could have been something as simple as housekeeping. But
right.
I don't want to be a buzzkill. And we can. It could have also been play behavior. It could have been doing it because it was enjoying moving the ball around. We don't really know. I forgot what lab that is. There's a specific lab that's done a bunch of interesting bumblebee tests, all cognitive stuff. I know that I wrote it down in the field notes, which Derek will put on our website when this episode comes out, so folks can read about those studies if they want to and kind of figure it out. There was also a professor. Oh, now I'm remembering because I made a book recommendation list. Lars Chitka. So he created a book just in 2022. It's brand new, called The Mind of a Bee. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it looks pretty amazing. So if you want to learn more about bee cognition, bumblebee cognition specifically, might want to check out that book. I know I am. I'm going to read it. I'm excited. But yeah, so maybe they play, maybe, it's neat. So our guy should be playful and friendly, and he's the heart of the team. It's very cute.
Let me give him an open mouth smile instead of a closed mouth smile. He's the only one whose mouth we've been able to see because I had to expose the beard.
There are a couple books, bee books also. The Bees in Your Backyard, and on my coast, Common Bees of Eastern North America. If anyone wants to learn more about bees, I love The Bees in Your Backyard. It's a good book.
I know we had a listener question back. I don't even know what episode it was, but it's submitted by a couple whom bees have played a loving role in their relationship, that they both really liked bees. I think he liked the mason bee and she liked the bumblebee. So
that's very cute. That's very, very cute. Who doesn't love a bee? You find me someone who doesn't love a bee and they're a monster.
I think most people who are deathly allergic to bees.
But they're so cute. Come on.
They are very cute. And I come back to the bumblebee has always been the bee I feared the least.
Yeah,
I think because I was incorrectly told that they don't sting you.
Yeah, I guess I mean, like the rest of our team, he should have some kind of stinging weapon.
Yeah, let me think. More than just an emotional barb he can throw at you.
But remember, not barbed. Their stingers,
right? Not barbed. Not barbed. It tells you the truth because you need to hear. But it's done from a loving place. Gotta add gentle. Some stripes always. Gotta have some stripes on any bee-themed character. We haven't discussed that there's other Bumblebee. I know that the character from DC is Bumblebee.
Yes.
And I believe she shoots some sort of light projection laser situation.
Well, the bees cannot shoot lasers.
Yeah, and she does the shrinky thing that, because let's face it, DC and Marvel just kind of, for a while there, they just looked at each other and were like, which characters can we also make?
Yeah. Are there any other?
I don't know if there's any other Bumble specific ones. There's other, we talked in the Honeybee episode about other bee like characters.
Yeah. Well, we did get a message from one of our followers on Twitter who let us know that we forgot about the bees. The bee characters.
Yes, the bee characters from the Tick.
Thank you, listener on Twitter. I don't have it pulled up right now to share their name, but yeah, I guess we can't remember everything. They were in one episode, right? They weren't a continuous.
I'm pretty sure they were just a one-off. But what a one-off they were. I mean, if we tried to name every character that has even a slight bug theme, then I would be remiss not to mention Queen Slug for a Butt and her sister? That's Princess What's Her Name? And Princess What's Her Name, who does not have a name, is very bee themed.
Be
And she's
themed?
the yes, and she's the lady love interest of Earthworm Jim, if you're familiar with that franchise. Although I believe
Oh,
that
wow.
franchise has
I
fallen
haven't
out of
heard that name in
popularity.
a long time. I'm looking through a list of bee-themed heroes. There's the red bee, which is pretty old.
Is the
And
red bee? Hold on. I need to inform you about. Is it the red bee that's a single bee? Derek, please confirm.
Yes.
a single bee.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So Kelly, you have accidentally stumbled upon a bee character who is lesser known, but shouldn't be. So the red bee was a character from the Golden Age, which, if you don't know, the Golden Age is absolutely hog wild
Oh, yeah.
for characters, because it's just like anything they throw at the wall, see what sticks. And sometimes it's Hawkeye, and sometimes it's the red bee. And the red bee was a guy who had a bee in a in a little cage upon his belt, and the bee's name was Michael. And he would release the singular bee,
Just one little bee.
just one bee named Michael, to his enemies. He operated out of Oregon, which, fun fact for you, the red bee is native to my homeland.
Oh, he's your state superhero.
Yes.
You got him.
And well represented, I feel.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
So if you ever need to look up an absolutely kookadoodle, just imagine a guy was fighting you about your crimes, and he comes and he releases a single
One bee.
Wouldn't you like, what's your assumption? That this guy's absolutely crazy? There's no way that one bee could do anything? Or do you assume that one bee is so powerful that he
I
doesn't
run.
need any additional bees?
I would run. That if it's just one bee, then there's something crazy going on there.
That bee must be incredibly powerful. What a powerful bee.
And there is also Bee Boy, which is from the DC comics. And talk about crazy looking. It's the body of a bee with the head of a man and 2 human arms.
The magic school bus
horrifying.
effect is what we've gone with.
Oh, it was I think it's from the 60s, and this is terrifying looking. It is a lot.
They're all terrifying. Again, it was just kind of like whatever there's
worked.
no rhyme or reason to who gets popular sometimes, because sometimes they'll try really hard to push a new character, like, this is the one, you guys, this one's cool, and the readers just reject it, and they're like, no, I'm not. And other times they're like, yes, that's the one, that's the guy.
Well, there's also, I remember in the Spider-Man comic, Swarm, right? He's a hero, or he's a villain, and he's just a swarm of bees.
Correct. They are
cape.
Bees that all have a single consciousness, I believe, that they share across them. Kind of Borg-esque, that they all think the same.
So there have been some interesting bee-themed heroes and villains.
Oh, for sure. We kind of graced on it in the Japanese honeybee, but there's been a lot of bee themed, and usually villains, which I think is a mistake. Don't make them villains.
Yeah, bees are great. We love bees.
I'm going to share this to you guys really quickly, and you guys can help me figure out how we're going to incorporate some of the powers we've discussed.
I gotta say, I love your updated Ladybug image.
Oh yeah, we updated her because she was the #1 episode, so she was on paper and pencil, like Neanderthals. Who do we think we are?
She is adorable, and I'm not just saying that because she's you. She's
right. She's me with some hair dye. Here we go. Okay, so I'm tossing him into the art, and then we got to figure out how to give him empathy powers and a stinger of some sort.
Oh my god, he's amazing.
So I tried to give him, like, there's a red belted bee. I don't remember what the exact name was. So I tried to give him a belt situation that kind of mimicked those strongman belts that they wear sometimes, so you don't hurt your back. And
he's got his pockets for his pollen.
Got his pockets, big pockets, because you said that they are particularly robust at their pollen collection.
They're very good, yeah.
We've done kind of a circle situation on the chest, because a lot of the bees had a circle on their thorax, on the back, but I'm not showing his back. Got the wing motif we've been using. Little antenna.
Oh my god,
short,
he's
little
so
stocky
cute.
boy.
He's so cute. I think he could be thicker.
Okay. I'll thick him up. Hold on.
Especially in the leg area. Give him some
Oh yeah.
beefy
Okay,
legs.
let me chop this leg right here.
He's so cute. I love his beard sticking out underneath the mask. It's very, very cute. I would hang out with this guy.
This guy just like wants to take you out for drinks and like hear about your day.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
He's not he's not interested in anything else. He just wants to be a good pal.
He just is
He's a pal.
genuinely interested in you as a person.
I am partial to a beefier bearded man, if you've ever seen my husband.
That's true. Or Tom Hardy, who has been discussed multiple times on this podcast.
Oh god, we almost forgot to mention Tom Hardy this episode. Hold on.
Yeah, how dare you? Okay, let's thick him up a little bit here. Thick. Really stretching the bounds of my my canvas here.
Yeah, think of like old-timey strongman.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe we need to have here. I'll make him a little shorter so that he seems beefier.
I can't wait to see the colored version of this.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be the first one that has like another color other than yellow
and black.
Try to keep that red belt. I might make his yellow a little lighter because it seems like the bumblebees are often more of a buttery yellow.
Yeah, softer yellow in the bumblebee. Oh, Derek is recommending strongman briefs.
I had him in when I had to like erase this because I put the briefs on him, and then I put a different design on the top, and it definitely looked like he was wearing booty shorts and a crop top. And I was like, oh, he's going to the beach. Okay, let me change these stripe designs on his legs, and we'll go with more of a brief situation.
I think so far this might be my favorite B-team character.
Well, you say that every week.
I do. It's true. Every week I get a new one, and it's my new fave.
Is his last name Bombus? Oh, he should be a professor. Professor Bombus.
Oh yeah, that is very cute. Oh, Professor. Did we name our other bees on the team?
Not really.
Should we give them names?
We should probably name them.
Yeah.
But unless a name is obvious, we don't always name them. Like Isabella Tigermoth. Like, obviously she's named Isabella. So someday we'll have to create a backstory like event where we really give them all backstories and names.
I think eventually, Amanda, you might have to draw a little comic of the B team.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Who would they? I guess we'll find out at the end who they'll fight. We'll have to make a villain for the B team. That's not just like a bear.
Raiding the honey.
I think he needs to be even just a little bit thicker here. I think I'm going to make his upper half a little thicker. How am I going to get a stinger on this? Well, he chooses not to sting.
So maybe he doesn't need one because he doesn't. Yeah, he's friendly. He's a nice guy.
He's friendly. Your friendly neighborhood bumblebee.
So, Amanda, how many legs out of 6 legs would you give the bumblebee?
Oh, a hard call because I think they're great. I love a bumblebee. It's hard to hate on him. He's just doing his thing, you know. I'm gonna go 5 legs. I feel like they could be slightly more useful to me, which is always a category of how useful is this bug to me personally.
Do you eat? I mean, do you eat potatoes?
Oh, so many potatoes. Okay, change it. 6 out of 6. You're right. You really brought potatoes back to the game. A staple of my diet is, of course, I think my favorite food is probably JoJo's from the from the deli counter. I love. Oh, you might not know that.
What is a JoJo's?
A potato wedge from a deli counter is called a JoJo.
Oh,
I don't know why.
We just call it a potato wedge.
Well, that's not as fun as JoJo.
It's not as fun, no. No, I could go for a JoJo right about now.
Go for a JoJo. Please go to the deli counter and say, I'd like some JoJo's, please. And see what they say to you.
He'll stare blankly at me.
You want a what? Who's JoJo?
I mean, I'm giving these guys 6 out of 6 legs. I love a bumble. I love them. I love blueberries and potatoes, so
I've
they're very
heard,
important to me.
I failed to mention during the cast here that we right at the very beginning we talked about names, so we've gone full circle here. I've heard that Bumblebee and the word Dumbledore have something to do with each other. I don't know if we want to mention this because it's a little bit spicy on on opinions of authors here, but
I have
I've
not
heard that
heard
those
that.
two.
Do you
No,
have an explanation or no? Just a
just
thing you
that
heard?
it's something I've heard that Dumble and Bumble and now apparently Humble are all interconnected with one another
Oh,
in a
okay.
way.
Dumbledore is an old British word for bumblebee.
There you go. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know if we want to keep that because Harry Potter is kind of a
Well,
spicy
I mean,
subject at the
we
moment.
could keep it. We just don't have to talk about the monster behind
Uh,
Dumbledore,
the greatest advocate for death of the author I've seen in a long time. I was like,
I don't
oh, I
think she
want to
should die. She should just
no,
shut
no,
up.
no. Sorry, the literary theory of death of the author, where you don't take into account who wrote it, you just examine the piece as it is. As an art historian, it gets brought up a lot. Do you talk about
That must be
where
impossible though, because
it is a really difficult theory to really put into practice, because if you want to talk about the piece of artwork by itself without any authorial input or authorial intent, like what really came across, it can get very difficult, especially art history, because so much of art history is based on the idea that we should start to talk about who painted it, in my professional opinion, because we've talked briefly before about about the father of art history basically founded art history as a thing because he had such a crush on Michelangelo. Thought he was just like the coolest dude.
which was very funny.
Which, spoiler alert, Michelangelo is not a cool dude. That dude kind of sucks, but it's fine. But so art history in particular is very difficult to remove from the death of the author theory. So, but like, can you talk about like Artemisia without talking about the fact that she was the only woman painting in her area? Not really. It's really difficult to talk about the only woman who's
Yeah.
painting without acknowledging that she was the only woman, because her paintings have a lot to do with her experience as a woman, because, and I don't want to get too spicy on the cast, but like, it sucked to be a woman, especially doing a job that the men around you don't want you to be doing.
Yeah.
So death of the author being one of those
makes
theories.
sense. So you're schooling me again on these terms that I've never heard of.
Yeah, it's you can find some really interesting articles like for or against death of the author. I generally am not for death of the author, because I do think that people put so much of their, at least in the modern era, put so much of their own personal experience into their artwork. When you consider
You
artwork
can't
as
not.
right. Well,
It is a
once
form of
art
expression.
becomes once art becomes something that the artist makes, the artist with their own oeuvre, with their own point of view, you have to talk about the author, in my opinion. Once art leaves the realm of craftsman, of blue collar worker, he's just a painter. You can't, like, we've uncorked that bottle. You have to talk about the author now. And they say death of the author because it was primarily a literary thing, but it can be applied to many different kinds of artwork, both visual and written word. Like, can you really talk about the Matrix without talking about what the Wachowskis have been through? Not really.
Yeah, no, not really. Especially in the most recent movie.
Yeah, the most recent movie is very clearly based in their experiences as people going through changes.
Women, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Rotunda, how do you feel about bumblebees? Oh, she's bumblebee positive.
She gave us a little trill. I think she likes bumblebees. As a chunky cat, I think she can identify with a chunky bee.
Yes, truly. Us chunks gotta stick together, she says. Thanks for coming by to listen about bumblebees, you guys. We hope you're enjoying the gathering of our B team here. We've got, I think, 2 slots left in the B team.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. So continue to tune in to see who be in the team next. Some good English there for you.
Yeah, so stay tuned for our next episode, which is a listener request from Bombus to Bombardier, the exploding beetle. Should
Ooh,
be
that
fun.
sounds spicy. All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you. Bugs Need Heroes is created by Derek Conrad and Kelly Zimmerman, hosted by Amanda Niday and Kelly Zimmerman. Bugs Need Heroes is produced and edited by Derek Conrad. Our music is Ladybug Castle by Roll Music. All character art by Amanda Niday. Got a bug question? Email us at bugsneedheroes@gmail.com. Check us out on bugsneedheroes.com for the visual companion to our episodes with the artwork of the bug-related heroes. We also have an Instagram, Twitter, and subreddit under the Bugs Need Heroes name. Thanks for coming by. It's Bumble time. Bumble, 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 bumble.